Hi, I'm Dave. We all know that person. You go to the alcohol aisle in the supermarket and you've got the craft beer stare. You're looking at all the craft beer thinking, what the hell do I choose? I'm lucky, I don't mind any of it, so I just pick one and run with it. But we're here at the Spring and Fern Brewery today to do a tasting so that you at home don't have to look at all the craft beer and you know what to choose.
My name's Mike. I'm partial to the odd beer. Don't know much about craft beer, pretty new to it, but I quite enjoy the Hazy IPA at the moment.
My name's Hayley. I know absolutely nothing about craft beer, but I do enjoy it, so looking forward to learning a bit more about it.
Hi, I'm Dave. For the amount of beer I've drunk, I don't know much about them, to be honest, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this all comes together and creates something special, so excited about it.
Hi, I'm Scott. I drink a lot of beer but don't know a lot about craft beer, so coming here today to see if I can learn something new.
Thanks for coming along, guys. So I'm Tracy Banner. I'm the owner and master brewer here at Spring and Fern Brewery. So it sounds like you don't know an awful lot about craft beer, but you drink beer. You like hazies, so hopefully before you leave today you're going to know a bit more about craft beer, because we're going to go through 4 different styles. So I'd like to think you're going to go away a little bit more knowledgeable than when you first came in. Alrighty? Alright, shall we get started? So we're going to work from left to right. We're going to start off with our Tasman Reserve. So this is a strong premium lager, okay? We've been brewing this for many, many years, and it was, I guess it was revolutionary in its time, because these days it would be classed as an imperial lager, which was not really heard of all those years ago. It is 6.5%. You know, to start on a 6.5% is maybe...
It's Michael's usual activity, actually, isn't it? You know, start strong, finish weak.
Fade out at the end.
Fade out at the end.
I don't know how it ends up, but at some point I head down at that.
So Tasman Reserve, better known as Tassie, for those who really like this beer. So it's this is our second biggest selling beer. So let's, you know, we've used these glasses for a reason. Really good to use the tulip style glass. So you know, if you're drinking wine, you see people will actually, you know, give the glass a bit of a swirl. Let's do the same. So give it a swirl, and just pop your nose. Just have a smell. Okay. So this beer's got a nice fruity, citrusy aromatic, so aroma. So have a smell.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I smelled that smell before.
Can you get fruity, citrusy notes? Any tropical notes?
Definitely fruity.
I get a bit of passion fruit.
Yeah, perfect.
I can see myself on a tropical island drinking.
Yeah.
I'd like to see myself on a tropical island drinking.
Yeah, good. Have a taste. See what you think. Nice, clean beer, very balanced, and that's really important when you've got something that is 6.5%. That it's not just all about the aroma. It actually follows through into the balance as well. So what you swallow in the mouthfeel. Yeah, like it.
Yeah, definitely.
Tasman Reserve.
Definitely doesn't taste like a 6.5%.
No, and spot on, because it can creep up on you, but purely because of the balance. It's just got good drinkability. Yeah. So this is a strong premium lager.
It's not bad.
I take that.
I was trying to be generous and leave mine.
Enjoyed that. Yeah.
That's
Nice
where we're going with it.
Yeah.
No, it goes down well.
Good.
Lovely.
So you're ready for the next one already?
The only time I've ever tried that is mixed with a berry cider that you do. You call it a terry.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Well, there you
That's
go.
interesting. Yeah.
You can always teach the master
Yeah.
brewers.
We probably should mention that is at a certain time of the night onwards.
Okay, berry cider and Tasman there.
Yeah, the
Okay.
terry.
Yeah, the terry.
Joe Benyon's favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
that's
good. All right. Let's move on. Okay. So we've got the Hazy IPA. Now I've spent my career, you know, and I've been in the industry coming up 40 years actually, long time. But I've spent a good chunk of my career making beer clear, so it's crystal clear. So it's interesting, so that the hazy, it's been around for quite a few years, probably even 10 years or so, but it's only the last 2 years it's just gone gangbusters. Okay, and you know what creates that haze? You know, we've just got malt, yeast, water and hops. That's all it is in there. There's no additives, and it's all to do with the fermentation, okay, and what's happening in the fermentation. So, and as a result of getting this good haze. Now these beers should be really truly aromatic. That jumps out the glass, the aroma. Okay, let's have a smell, because you should be getting really
hoppy,
really prominent citrusy. People refer to it as juicy and fruity. So you know, I can smell it from here. You know.
So what's the process of, like, if you made that clear? Is that a different process?
Yeah, so we would add the hops at a different time in the process, and for it to be clear as well, we would probably filter the beer.
So you take out a step.
Yeah.
What's been the reason to keep the hazy out? Is it just because of, you know, brewers like yourself for years have been, you know, aiming to get that crystal clear?
Oh no, hazes are very trendy at the moment, and it's just something with craft beer evolving over the years, and so it's the next new thing. You know, when you think about over the years, there was New England IPAs, which was a hazy. There's brut IPAs that were, you know, they could be filtered beers. So this is the next new thing, and hazes are selling. So just the word hazy. It's going to be around for a while, you know, so you can expect Spring and Fern to be producing a few hazies.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Is it just aesthetic, or is there an actual taste difference if you were to take the haze out?
Oh no, the difference is when you're adding the hops. So we're adding the hops when the fermentation is when it's really vigorous, and what it does, it just makes the really nice juicy fruity flavours and aromatics, you know, stay in the beer a lot more. When you filter beer, what do? You're stripping out a lot of those aromatics. So we're putting, you know, hops in, and you can strip it out.
So it's an easier process, somewhat.
No, hazy is probably more difficult than filtration. Yeah, so you've got to really understand your fermentation process and what hops to use, what time to add them into the fermenter as well. So you know, the fermentation is at its most active, and yeah, there are times that you could possibly end up wearing the beer a little bit if it's very active. So it hasn't happened to me yet, but I know it's happened to others. So yeah. But nice, aren't they? Really nice, juicy, fruity. That's citrus. It's just amazing. This is both of these beers are all New Zealand hops, and we're very, very fortunate. New Zealand hops for ourselves, you know, 15 minutes down the road. So this particular one's got 3 hops in it called Ruwaka, Motueka, and Kahatu. So yeah, good one.
What percent is that?
5.5.
They're both very easy drinks, aren't they?
Very easy drinking, yeah. Now it's
Chance of another one.
Yeah.
It's a hazy IPA, but hazy IPAs drink softer, like a pale ale. We're going to drink a pale ale now, and that's the difference for those of you who are, who you mentioned before, you like an IPA. IPA is usually a lot more bitter. But not a hazy IPA. It's got to have that nice soft drinkability, and you can have a pint. You've enjoyed it that much, you'll have another pint. Yep. Okay. Let's move on to our third beer, and this was a recent release for us after lockdown. So this is called Nectaron Pale Ale. Love this beer, and it's near and dear to my heart. You know, it's Nectaron. Was 17 years in the breeding process, and just down the road in Rewalker. So it was under a name of Hort 4337. That's what the hop was called, while they actually came up with a new name for it. Yeah. So one of the things that I do is I give my time and I give feedback to any new hop cultivars if they are tested down at Plant and Food out in Rewalker. And so I'll get some samples and then I'll give them feedback as to what was the aromatic. Was it apricot? Was it did it have nectarine? Was it a tangerine? Was it citrus? Was it lemon? Was it lime? So this hop actually went through to an advanced stage and then just recently became commercial. And we were the first brewers at Spring and Fern to actually brew with this hop when it was branded Nectaron. So that's trademarked now. New Zealand Hops have trademarked it. So have a smell and just see if you can understand why it got the name Nectar. The Ron came from Dr. Ron Beatson, who has spent years and years and years working on hop cultivars and development. So I can smell it from here. So it's an amazing hop. This is going to take the world by storm. This hop, to think it's only just grown down the road here in Nelson, and this is a pale ale. Okay.
You said it was 17 years in the making. What do you mean by
for the hop?
Yeah.
For the hop to be bred.
Yeah.
So it took 17 years before they were happy to sign it off to go out to commercial. Okay. Yeah. What are you smelling and what are you tasting in this? Can you get fruity?
Yeah.
Can you get tropical?
Definitely.
Yeah. So we're thrilled. This was first to market on, branded as this Nectaron hop. So this beer is part of core range now. So you can walk into any Spring and Fern tavern. This will be on tap. And it's available in our 888 bottle and retail for a limited time. Yeah.
Do you source the rest of your hops locally as well? Like, are almost all of the Spring and Fern beers made from local hops?
Good question. No, we brew, I try to brew as stylistically correct. So if we're brewing an American pale ale, tend to use American hops.
Yep.
The Scotch ale that we're going to try shortly has actually got a Fuggle hop in it, which is English because this is actually a British style. So, but just the first three beers are our New Zealand hops, and then we're just going to finish with an English hop. Yeah.
Why has this got such like a silky finish? Silky finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like a Guinness, like finish, like a creamy kind of.
Very nice. Yeah.
Very different to the other two.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
like a honey.
That's
finish.
the texture. Yeah. That's the texture. Basically, the malt's what we've used. Not going to give away too many secrets. I'll giving away a recipe as such, but it is nice and creamy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, and it's very Moorish. You could have a pint of the Nectaron Pale Ale and just think, oh God, I've enjoyed that so much. I'm gonna have another pint.
What's involved in getting that hop just right? Like, you said that process of getting it to be able to use it and signing off on it. What does that actually involve?
Good brewing skills, really. A lot of experience. There's calculations you can use to get the bitterness right and the aromatics, and a lot just comes down to experience. We brew 2,500 litres at any one time. We've never, not once, been happy with that. So I've got to think of a recipe in my mind, and then I can kind of taste it in my mouth before I've even put pen to paper. And I'm old school. I'll jot things down. So I tend not to use things on the internet, whatever. It's just old school brewing and writing recipes. So when we did the Nectaron or the Hazy, 2,500 litres, bang, we brewed it, happy with it. And that's coming down to the malts as well, because I think it would be nice to actually try some of the malts now before we actually taste the Scotch ale. So we've got a base malt here, which is a Pilsner malt. Now most beers would have a Pilsner or an ale malt, okay? So this is malted barley. So grab some of the malt there. Yeah, it'd be better if you take more than one.
There he is. Yeah. Taxi!
Don't waste the beer, mate.
Oh yeah.
You're meant to be driving.
Yeah.
You will be right.
What I'm going to do, we're going to actually, it's quite a taste sensation. So you're going to start off now, How would you describe? Would you like to have a stab at describing this?
No.
Wow.
It smells like smoky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come to a smoky one.
Oh.
So this is a Pilsner malt. So it's the best way to say is actually it's malty. It's
Yeah.
malt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get much else.
Yeah. Tiny little bit biscuity.
Yeah.
What I'd like you to do now, you've got the Pilsner. Let's just try this one here. This is medium crystal, and just see the difference. And so, have a taste of that one, and you're gonna crunch as well, because this has been kilned longer, different temperatures. Can hear you crunching. Yeah. This one reminds me of that malty drink Ovaltine.
Got a real delay.
That, you know, that bedtime drink.
Yeah,
It's
it's
real
Nice,
delayed taste. So
yeah.
you kind of think as soon as it crunches, you get it, but sort of
Yeah.
not till you actually start.
Nice, hey?
Yeah,
Nice,
no,
yeah,
very nice,
you do,
yeah.
yeah, really nice. These malts actually come from South Canterbury, so we keep our ingredients as local as possible, you know. Yeah. Let's try this one now. You've just touched on smoke. This one is actually this one's a smoked malt. So the
That's really
smoked malt. Well, I'll actually talk about that when we come to the Scotch ale.
Smell it before even.
Yeah. So this is smoked. It's a Manuka. Manuka smoked. Nice.
You can smell
Yeah.
the smoke.
Yeah.
The smoke straight away.
Yeah.
So the first one, was that just plain?
That's a base malt. So that's a Pilsner malt. So you could use a Pilsner or an
And
S.
you
So
put that in a smoker
we'd
and
use
smoked it.
yeah, we'd use a Pilsner malt in the first 3 beers, and we're going to use an ale malt in our Scotch ale. Just finish on
Wow.
the chocolate malt. Now, when you try the chocolate malt, don't expect to taste chocolate. Okay, you taste chocolate in the beer.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. Yeah. It's I guess the best way to describe that is a little bit like bird toast in that form. So just have a taste of the chocolate malt. But when it's in the beer, it's you know, you can get licorice, you can get coffee, you can get chocolate. Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely get that burnt toast.
Yeah.
Burnt
Yeah.
toast for sure.
Yeah, exactly like that toast.
So all of our beers are all made with 100% malt. Okay, nothing else, no additives. So that's how we determine we get our flavors. So it's about the brewer sitting down, writing a recipe, like any chef would, you know, with a meal. We think of, you know, what recipe do we want, what style do we want, what malts are we going to have to use. So when I think back, you know, all those years ago, 37 years ago, I spent a whole year analysing malts, and there's quite a lot of variety. So
It's amazing how you can make the same thing taste so different.
so
by
different.
Yeah.
many
With
different
them,
things.
yeah.
So is someone's job out there to get the raw ingredient and try and make it taste like different things through doing different procedures?
Well, that sits with me. That's me
Is
having
it?
to write a recipe, knowing what all the flavours, and you know, you talk about that creaminess of that Nectaron. That's using what malts are we going to achieve with that. What gives it the right body, the right mouthfeel.
What would be
So
the strangest thing you've done with a malt to make it taste like something? You know, have you put it in a
Oh,
Well, 20 secrets though.
in a car engine or like, you know, done something?
I don't know. That's hard to answer that one. I guess one of the strangest beers I've done was I did a beer a few years ago for my 30th year in brewing. We did Brewer's Pearl 30 years, and we used honey and we used a peated whiskey malt, and it was an amazing beer. It was about 7.2%.
So you put
Yeah.
that in the people whiskey, like you soak it
Oh
in.
no, the malt is actually it's a peated malt. So, but it's what they can use in whiskey. So it was truly amazing, and who knows, that may come back one day.
So there'd be a bigger element of trial and error in terms of going through product with, you know, hops and stuff to get what you want, or are you growing your 2,500 litres and you're just adding stuff in and out, tasting it, going, no, it needs more of this, it needs this.
No, you get one chance to get it right. So
And otherwise it just goes down the drain.
No, we've never done that. We've
No,
never
but-
had.
He's done it every day.
I was gonna.
No, we don't. No,
I was
no,
just
no.
going to, I'm probably more leaning towards the,
Yeah.
you know, if you've got some gigs that you're not that phased with.
Well, that's
that
what
you
I was
won't-
gonna ask.
yeah, we're not picking much on, so
Yeah, if there was something you just didn't
We-
like that didn't work.
Yeah, we live and breathe. There's two words, Spring and Fern live and breathe, is quality and consistency. Really, really important. So a lot of time and effort goes into what styles we want, what suits. Taverns, there's 12 Spring and Fern taverns and one Little Sprig. So we've got to ensure we've got quality
Like
and
that Little
consistency. And also obviously in retail as well, in the supermarkets. So really, really important as a brand. The book stops with me as, first place really, in the sense of I've got to write a recipe. We're a team, and team's really important. We're not about I, me, or anything like that. It's really important. I might write a recipe, somebody brews it, somebody transfers it, somebody may filter it, somebody may not filter it because it's a hazy. And then we've got to package it. So when we say package, that means we're either putting it into a keg, going off to a tavern, or we're putting it into a bottle. Now, if somebody in that team breaks that chain, we've had major success over the years, lots and lots and lots and lots of medals. And that's really important, and it's acknowledgement to the team because everybody has done their bit in the process, which is really important.
I guess it reiterates to you that you're on the right path of what you're trying to achieve, doesn't it? So it pushes you out for the next time to be all right, what can we do next? Like you said earlier on, you want to be sort of forever changing game and innovative and bring the next brew out.
Yeah.
So you must obviously live and breathe brewing.
Yes.
So do you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go, I've got it?
Next one.
All the time. All the time. Yeah, all the time. And we'll have a limited release program that's, drafted for 6 to 12 months. But, in 6 months' time, we may relook at that and go, actually, no, that beer is not appropriate for this time.
Yeah.
Something new's come out. But what's key is drinkability. We're not the weirdest, wackiest. We don't make the weird, wacky beers. We want drinkability. So if you're going into one of the taverns or you're picking up, beers from the supermarket, we want you to enjoy that beer and have another beer, So it's not, I couldn't quite get through that. So really, really important, yeah.
So when you drop them down and you come up with your recipe, do you then keep that recipe in a formalised manner on the system and then it just stays the same every time? You tweak it?
I'd imagine it'd be in a little black book hidden somewhere.
It's in the vault. Not quite. Our core range doesn't change, so that recipe won't change. The only thing would change is seasonality of the malt or seasonality of the hops, when they're harvested. So it's like any wine. A wine has a vintage, so we're not changing our recipe. But if we felt that we got an ingredient, say a hop, and we didn't quite have the aromatic it had last time we got it, then we're going to just have to tweak that slightly so everything stays consistent.
So the ingredients would stay the same, but the quantities would
very marginally if it was needed to be, because again it's quality and consistency.
Do you find it changes quite a bit between like what you bottle and send to the supermarket versus kegs and things like that? Because I know soap, depending on how you store it and things like that, it totally affects how it looks, how it smells, everything like that. Is it similar with beer?
Well, the freshest kind of beer would be in a keg. That's ideally if on tap. But bottles absolutely fine as well. Ideally, keep them in the fridge. So if you're going to you're in the store and you buy your beer, take it home, put it in the fridge. It's always better in the fridge because the warmer the beer is, it can accelerate the aging of it. Should we try the Scotch Ale?
Yeah. Why not?
So we've just had 3 hoppy beers, and I thought, you've come here to sort of be educated on craft beer. Let's actually now look at a beer that's malt driven, not driven by hops. Okay. So Scotch Ale is multi-award winning for ourselves. So 2 years running, New World Beer and Cider Awards top 30. It's a stunning beer, 6.5%. And this has got 6 different malts in it, okay? Now, I wanted you to try the smoked malt because, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there's 2 types of Scotch ale. So one's a peated Scotch ale and one's a traditional Scotch ale. And ours is a traditional. So if we were putting this into a beer awards, this would be judged as a traditional Scotch ale. It has got a very, very small amount of that smoked malt in it. And why we've had it at the end as well is this should be drank around about 6 to 8 degrees. So if you think of your fridge at home sits around 3 to 4, then these beers can be drank around 3 to 4 degrees. This one actually needs to be a bit warmer, okay? So if you are at home and you take a Scotch ale out the fridge, if you can resist, leave it on the bench for 10 to 15 minutes and just let it just warm up slightly, not to room temperature. So let's see what you think. Okay, so don't expect hops to jump out the glass with this beer. It's all about showcasing the malt. Yeah?
It is chocolatey.
Yeah?
I like that. Yeah.
Nice, eh? Yeah, so we're using three of those malts that we've got there. So we've got the medium crystal, we've got some of the smoked, and we've got the chocolate malt. But we don't use the Pilsner malt, we use an ale malt, and then a couple of others that I'll keep under my hat. So,
what's the difference between the traditional and the peated?
Peated is considerably more smoky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very, very, very different. You'd smell the smoke.
You can
from
tell
here.
the difference. Right?
But I'm picking some smoked character in this beer.
What was this percentage of this one?
6.5. Yeah.
It's quite smooth for like
It is actually, yeah. I was kind of expecting a bit more.
like
Yeah.
if you have a port of like somewhere else,
Yeah.
like you get a bit of like a
Yeah, you
edge
certainly,
to it.
it certainly sort of, it hits you more than anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's actually quite, it's a lot more, I mean, I'm more partial to the softer ones, but this one's actually like,
Yeah.
dark.
I happily.
Traditionally, it's always been recognised as a winter beer, but it's a style that's been growing and evolving. And if you were to come round to my place, even any time of the year, I'd have a Scotch ale. It's
Why isn't it considered a winter beer?
why is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Warmer.
just because it's
'cause you drink it
like
warmer.
when you class as a winter warmer.
Oh, okay.
So
If
you
you go
could
to the
be.
UK, they'll have like a pump. And
yeah.
they don't really chill them, do they? They keep them at like 10 degrees maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of strikes me as a, I don't know, just a Friday evening, chill out around the outside on
It's
this.
definitely a chill sort of
Yeah, it's something that'd be like cracking
one
on
Friday after work kind of thing.
Yeah, just chill out around the fire and brazier or something like that and have a quiet one. And,
Yeah.
So noting that most of us are most of the way through it, or not.
I think I've done a lot of talking. Yeah.
She's got 30 years experience, mate. I like
You
it.
just tried them before.
That's why I'm drinking the water. Just
Yeah,
for the
so assuming you'll go back to work after this.
I am. Yeah. So, well, hopefully, when you think about, we've got a premium strong lager, you've got Hazy IPA, you've got a pale ale, okay, Nectaron, and then we've got a Scotch ale. So you've actually had 4 different varieties. Is this going to help you now when you're going to go out and you've got that craft beer stir that we were
I didn't know what a hazy was before.
Yeah.
You tried it?
To be honest, for me in the past, it's been like I've been referred to. I've had maybe 1 or 2 beers with Dave in the past, and it's always been, have this is good. And so you kind of do that, but actually sitting down and having the opportunity to try quite a bigger variety, and like the weekend first got the chance to try the hazy, as I said before, I'd happily sit down and have the Scotch, and so I think I'll go in next time and be like, you know what, I'm going to try something different.
That's great. We traditionally as well, we tend to call the beers what they are by style. So it's easier. So if you are walking into a Springfern tavern and you're faced with 18, 20 beers or taps, then if something's called a Pilsner or a Scotch ale or a porter, it really helps.
How do you balance, say if like a non-purist was a 1 and a purist of beer was a 10, you've got to kind of hit a 5 because you're a mass, you're going for the majority of the people. How do you balance that as a brewer trying to hit the middle. You still want the kind of, you still want to pick up some of the purists, but you don't want to discredit everyone else. So you almost, not saying you have to kind of water down the pop of a beer, but you do have to kind of tame it a little bit. Is that right? Or
Can't please everyone.
That's actually a really good question, and I kind of touched on it before in the sense, with having so many Springfern taverns and the Little Sprig over in C2, it's really important that we will brew something. I'm talking about stylistically correct as well. Is there's no point having a beer that you're just going to have a couple of mouthfuls and go, actually, I can't drink that.
Or mix it with berry cider.
Well, I was looking at the Tasman and the Hazy and thinking, that's a Tasy.
I don't know.
That could be a Tasy.
Are you on the lower end of this?
Unfortunately, I brought him with us today. Which,
Wow.
But I guess for me, it's almost like you said, you sort of
Tasy.
brew them for different styles, but it's almost like in some ways kind of different environments or moods.
I was thinking
before
mood
about
change.
this, like having the Scots on a quiet, a friend comes around, you have a quiet beer outside around the brazier, or you go to the pub at the end of the week
Going for a date.
For a date, you might. Yeah. So
Which one would you choose if you were going for a date? Like if you just say you were single right now and you were looking for someone to, go on a date
Probably
with.
depends how nervous I am in terms of like who I'm like.
How hot they are, basically.
I don't know, man. You gotta pass them up, mate. Come on, we've got to be big people.
So I guess, well, from today, obviously you drink hazies. Now, do you feel you would go and have a Tasman now, or
On a date?
On a date.
or a Nectaron?
If the date we was going south, I'd probably start thinking of the Tassies.
Bit of strength to punch you through.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it. Look, to be honest, like I've had the Tassies before, and I've just started on the hazies, but I'm actually kind of a bit more quite like say if someone said we'd go to the pub for quite a beer on the end of a Friday after a big week, then I'd probably have to go and actually have a Scotch and just
Scotch ale.
just quiet beer, enjoy the tunes, enjoy the yarns, and then call it a day. But if the switch flicks, then we're going to push the boat out. Then I'll
Go back to the Tassies.
Yeah, but you skate around it, it's fine. But on a date, which one would you go for?
probably the Scotch to be.
Would you?
Makes them look classy.
Fair enough.
Is that because it's a little bit more sophisticated?
Probably potentially that, but also too a little bit reserved in some regards as well. I don't want to go. I'm not going to hit the Tassies and get a pint full straight because
Same percentage though, so
yeah, but I don't know. I think
That's a 3 AM sort of beer, isn't it?
yeah.
We start off with the Tassie. It tastes good. It will still taste good at 3
been
AM.
given the pass to go out for one, so you're like, might as well make it a Tassie.
Exactly.
More bang for buck. Great.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I hope you guys have as well. And I'd like to think you know a little bit more than when you walked in the door.
Definitely.
Yeah. So and hey, that's just a snippet. That's just 4 styles. We could have made a day of it.
Well, let's do that.
We could
I
do
think we
next time.
You guys for a day?
No one's going back to work today.
It's 5 o'clock in the channel. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So maybe another time we can do another 4. We'll see.
I'm always up for that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone else.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Brilliant.